Okay, so our meeting has started. First order of business is there any discussion about the minutes from the last meeting?
Nope, just read.
Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
And I second it. All in favor, just raise your hand. Okay, so that looks, I'm assuming, Christine, that you that was unanimous with you.
Yes.
No, actually, I didn't like my minutes. So actually, just a quick announcement. I've invited Chris Valenti from Kestrel to come to our next meeting. And he was quite excited and happy that we are supporting their efforts to do a accessible trail from the parking lot to Ames Pond. So I will likely put him in at the end of the agenda. And it'll just basically be to hear more about what they're doing. So the agenda items today, one is to go over the ideas that we all had for the Recreation Committee. The second is to look at the items that we've been assigned from the, I'm forgetting what it's called, from the open space here.
Open space
and recreation plan. And then getting the approval from the select board, we're all set. And then the third is to set up some times to take walks around the pond with people from Shutesbury. And we'll talk about how we might arrange that. So first, for the ideas, we have a lot of ideas. And I realized we didn't even put all of them on here. But the ones that are not on here are the ones that are associated with the garden and many educational opportunities that we'll be able to do in concert with the library.
And also, we didn't put on any of the things we have funded in the past, the yoga classes, the strength training. Were they on there? I didn't see them on there.
No, they were not. Are we still funding those?
It's up for discussion, I think. I don't think we had decided, but I think it should be on it.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we have helped them pay for those in the past. So I think we should talk about it, whether we want to,
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All righty. So those are not on here. So I don't know that, oh wait, Christine is here. Here we go. I don't know that we necessarily need to go through each one point by point, making a decision, but rather what I'd like to talk about is creating a process for deciding which things we will do. So some things like continuing to support the programming at the library, that is sort of a yes or no. It doesn't require any of us to do anything. None of us need to organize something, plan anything. Some of these, though, do require that. And I think that the way to address this is for each of us to go through and think about which are ones that we would be willing to work on. And further to find, and then to have at least two people working on each one. So no one person is completely responsible for anything. So I'm just kind of throwing that out as a process. So if we come to something and everybody's saying that is such a great idea, but nobody's willing to do it, then I think we either think, well, is there a way to find somebody else in the community who is willing to do it? Or we just set that one aside for the time being? Because there's an awful lot of things here.
I also think that
thoughts, yeah.
We should do a timeline for them, ones that would be in this fiscal year with this fiscal year's funding, one set that are ongoing because they're going to take more than 1 year to come to fruition, and then ones that are specifically set aside for let's plan it for next year.
Okay.
And I think we could just kind of go through each one of these and, just very quickly, without going into a discussion about them, we could just quickly say, who is it that wants to lead it? And, what time frame is it in?
And Barbara, are you expecting us each to pick one thing or two things?
No,
or?
Well, I don't really have any expectation. I'm just trying to figure out what a process might look like. Okay. So there might be a couple of things that are connected in some way. For example, things that are related to the garden. So it might be that someone would pick more than one of those, or I don't know, some of the lending library things that might be one, just two people doing that, even though there's multiple things that are a part of the lending library, the snowshoes, the cross-country skis, the garden equipments, things like that, musical instruments. So we have quite a panoply of things there. I've been wanting to use that word all day.
Oh, that's very impressive.
I'm really glad to have the opportunity.
So can I ask a sort of logistical question about the library?
Yeah.
And Elaine, you might be able to answer this. So the timeline for the library is what? Like, when do we hear from the state that we actually get the money? And do you know?
Yeah, we hear from the state sometime in January, and everything happens in time for town meeting next year.
Okay. So really it isn't until June of next year that we would actually know whether we were moving forward or not, correct?
With the library, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, we're sort of tied to, if we tie ourselves to the library.
Did I tell you about the Community Preservation Committee meeting?
No.
Last time? Okay, do you want to hear that now with respect to the garden?
Sure, because it's all of these things are interrelated. So
okay, so I brought it forward to the community preservation that we wanted to change the siting of the library, and they thought that made absolute sense. And actually, a number of people, select board and people who work at town hall, felt that whether or not the library goes in, they would like to see the garden moved to lot 032. The one problem is that the warrant article stated that we were going to create a community garden behind town hall. And so in order to move it, we have to go to town meeting and request that it be moved. Community preservation totally understood that this was a 2 to 3 year project of, with the money, they understand that, it's on hold and everybody's fine with that, but we will have to go to town meeting.
Okay.
I don't think that's a big issue, but it definitely would be something that we have to hold on then.
Okay.
And I do believe that with the visibility of 032, it's going to be so much better to have it sited there. And actually the soil is probably a lot better too.
So we're looking then at spring 2023, having okay, that's what I thought. Okay,
that's helpful.
All righty. Okay, so it doesn't sound like there's going to be any problem with that, but we will just have to go through those steps. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
To put in a warrant article, we'll have to remember that. So we have to have a warrant article for that.
All right. So shall we do as hi Christine and other? Hi. Should we just go through the different activities and we'll say whether it's this fiscal year, the 2023 fiscal year, or whether it's something that's ongoing. And then just, we can do kind of a quick, are you interested in it or not? And if nobody's interested in it, I'll just put a 0 next. I'll make up some kind of little coding and then elaborate the table. So that's all in there. Okay. All right. Orienteering. Our fiscal year ends in June.
Yes.
Okay. I could see doing this fiscal year.
I could too.
Okay, so this is fiscal year 2022. I'm definitely interested in it.
And is this for anybody or teenagers? Who are you focusing on this?
Anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah. I haven't heard that.
Could you just give another quick description of orienteering?
Yeah, orienteering involves, I've never done it, so this is just as people have described it to me, but little markers are put out in the woods or wherever, and then you have a map and you have to try to find them. And so the maps might show, it's not going to show where it is, but you might know that there's a particular geographic feature that you have to look for to find this little flag, and each flag you find, you then, mark it on your map that you found it and somehow indicate proof that you've been there. So you're just basically walking through the woods looking for little flags. I talked to somebody who did a beginner one, and it was mainly on trails. So it was not in all of the little flags were close to the trail. But she said it was a lot of fun. She'd never done it before. Like I said, I've reached out to the New England Orienteering Club and they got back to me, but I also have a friend whose husband travels all over the world orienteering. And so I will ask if either he's willing or if he knows somebody who might be willing to do it.
It also involves learning how to use your compass.
That's right. You have to know how to use a compass and a contour map. So there will be some nice lessons with that.
Yeah. And you could probably do it in small teams too, right? If people wanted to do it in families. Yeah.
Exactly. That's how this one apparently was done.
And I could see doing it, and behind your house, going from Montague Road down and ending at the Leverett Co-op and seeing if people could get there.
That's great. It's sort of like a better version of the escape room.
Right. Escape outside. And it's not like survival that you have to figure out how to stay overnight.
Right.
So this sounds like one that's a go, that there's some interest in it.
I'm interested.
I'll keep trying to find things, and then anybody who's interested, and you can either commit now or let me know later, but I think it'll be a fun one to work on.
Can I have an aside?
Sure.
Did we vote that Anne could be a member of our committee? I would like to do that to make
we
sure
did.
that
Right.
she is.
So is there any discussion? Okay, anyone moved?
I nominate Anne.
Nominate. Okay, I second. All in favor?
Yay. Thanks, everyone. It's a good thing you said yes, because I already got my letter from the town, and Grace just swore me in about an hour ago. So, but I'm delighted. So thank you.
We'll
Sorry, I'm a stickler for details here.
I like it, Elaine. I don't want this to, my political career to be in jeopardy because.
Okay, geocaching, the only reason I added that was it was brought up by this committee in 2019. Was it ever done?
What is it?
I don't know. They just kind of, all I know is it involves cylinders in the woods, and you have like the coordinates of where things are. It does not sound like there's any great interest on that one. Like I said, I added it because I was looking through past notes.
Well, if we don't know what it is, it's sort of hard to know if you're interested.
Yeah.
It's similar to the orienteering, but one thing is you have to be able to access the internet, Wi-Fi or whatever. You have to access the internet when you're out in the woods.
Oh, I see.
Go to different spots and find different things. Again, it's not something I've done. It's supposed to be really fun, but you have to be able to access the internet, which I think that's unlikely to work in Shutesbury.
Okay,
geocaching
thank you.
Is a type of global treasure hunt of people looking for caches or hidden stashes of objects. And it's an online thing. Huh.
I know there's some down New Boston Road because I've seen families doing it. So somebody's already doing it.
Is that the kind of thing that they had like those, was it Pokemon or?
Oh yeah.
That they would go looking for.
Yeah, and you bring your own rubber stamp and you stamp. There's like a little thing that you find, and then you stamp it that you've been there, and and then there's a stamp there for you, so you keep a record of where you've been and what you.
It sounds.
It's
like
fun to do with kids, I think.
Elementary school.
Yes, that sounds like a good library thing.
All right. So workshops on building dry stone walls. That would be something that would be done fiscal year 2023 after we get the rocks out from where the gardens are going to be.
Yeah, and this would be Patrick Sefton that
Yeah.
we would ask him if he would be willing to do a, I mean, it wouldn't be obviously the quality that he does, but just even showing us what he would do with the rocks that we found.
That would be great. Okay, so Snowshoe Lending Library. This one could get pricey. I don't know if anybody, I just looked at prices of snowshoes, and basically you can get them from $60 to several $100s. Some come with poles, some don't. You kind of need poles. But I think this is going to be a biggie in terms of an expense. So is anyone interested in kind of pursuing this and finding out more?
I'd be interested in working on it because I'd like to see if we could either purchase some. I was looking at the packages that they have in LL Bean, and they're somewhere between $250 and $400 based on, you know, they have child size, medium adult, and adult. It's not that it's, you know, like shoe size specific, but we could get a couple of pairs, and maybe even if we worked on it long enough, we could get some donations too.
Okay, so, great.
Yeah, I'd be interested in working on it too. I got my snowshoes a couple of years ago at Sierra Trading Post, and they were like 50 bucks, and they seemed great.
Of course.
Yeah.
I love the idea of donations too.
Yeah. So let's make that a ongoing one, because we're going to have to figure out, even with that, any part of the lending library, we're going to have to figure out where we're storing these things. And if we don't have the library, we're going to need to buy a shed that's going to store a lot of things.
Right.
So let's put that one on.
I think we should also think about putting it out on Nextdoor Shutesbury and Nextdoor Leverett, and that we're looking for snowshoes. You know, somebody's clearing out a parent's house and they find them, you know, just to keep it out there, that I'm sure there's some freebies out there.
And BC, you were talking about this last time, about how, the range of sizes. Is it a lot, or it's not that bad,
it's more
right?
It's more about your weight and your height than it is. So I think like a, you know, 6'2" guy is going to get a different length than a 5'2" woman.
It's not necessarily height. I mean, it's not like skis. It's your basic weight. Snowshoes weight. It's like somewhere between 150 and 250 pounds, and then over that, and then under that, and then kids sizes. So,
and then there also are different kinds. There are the kind that are for deep snow, and the ones that are, I mean, people race in them. They are small ones, you know.
Yeah, you can run.
So, and I'm with you, Ann. You can get them a lot cheaper than LL Bean, you know.
Sure.
Okay.
So anyway, I think I'm happy to keep my eye out for them.
Good. Okay. Well,
sounds like LL Bean do we know if LL Bean, we could look into that, see if they ever do any contributions, donations.
I'm probably not allowed to say this here, but LL Bean are big Trump supporters.
Yeah.
And I would love to not give them a penny of money.
Sounds good to me.
Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's appropriate. So Elaine and Anne, and then anyone else who wants to join them, will kind of look into that and get the details of that figured out. I think the same thing would apply for the cross-country ski lending library. I don't know whether or not, do we want to pursue that? Is anybody interested in doing that?
I think with cross-country skis, we get into the problem of the skis and the boots and the.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's really expensive.
Okay. The next one,
to go just the snowshoes.
Yeah,
and it's also more, it's trickier skiing. There's you know, some technique and some, you really have to have a lesson or somebody, you know, where snowshoeing, you just go out. You don't need anybody to show you how to walk.
And we have many more places that you can snowshoe here in town than skiing.
The next one, the more I thought about it, is the outing to Central Rock Gym and then bouldering. There's a huge bouldering area in Montague, but the problem is that everybody would have to have shoes to do the bouldering outside. And so, and then I thought about liability issues, and I think probably, you know, I mean, I've got these things called crash pads. So, you know, if you fall, you land on the crash pad. But I could just see some Yahoo who really can't climb saying, oh, I can do this. And then, so
Yeah.
I'd like to get rid of that one.
Yeah, I think that one should be nixed.
Yeah, that's gone. Yep. So the next one is, this was an idea that came from Elaine, creating a lending station for a wide variety of activities. I guess snowshoes to musical instruments to garden tools. I think the garden tools that might overlap with the garden if we get additional, you know, ones beyond just the needs of the gardeners. So could we put that as a kind of ongoing?
It could be ongoing. Also, you know, if the library does come to fruition and we can hook up to the library's water supply, we're not going to need that big tank.
That's right. That's right.
So, you know, our money's going to shuffle around with the garden. So I would love to put this on hold until
Okay.
we know better what we have for a facility.
Okay. So this one will just be on hold.
Mm-hmm.
The location, water.
As a newbie, can I just ask a clarifying question?
Mm-hmm.
I loved the musical instruments in here, but I did look on the website about the scope of the recreation committee, but could someone clarify for me? Because it doesn't say like if it's only like physical activity or if it can be musical instruments and games and other.
It's recreation. It's whatever you want to call recreation.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't have to be heavy physical.
Okay.
Although some people might disagree with that, because I wanted to do mural painting as an activity through the rec committee, and Becky was like, no, that is not recreation. Painting, you know, murals in town is not recreation.
What is it?
To her, it was an art activity and not a recreational activity.
And art
So
is
she nixed that. Yeah, so I disagree. I think all the arts are recreation, unless you're, you know, professional making your living doing it, but you know.
Well, it does, the definition is activity done for enjoyment when one is not working.
Thank you, Anne, you're right.
I'd be happy to broach the subject with, you know, different, who would we broach it with? Probably the select board. To
Maybe we should define ourselves as what maybe we
Ooh,
should define.
clarification.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, I love that. You can even look at like Amherst and other communities, how they define it. Because I do think that broadening the scope might invite people in who aren't inclined to do something that they might see as being athletic or.
Exactly.
We should probably put that on our next agenda, is to define our mission.
Yep. I just did that.
Cool.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Something for our next meeting. Okay. A family track and field day.
Oh, Christine's got a question.
Yeah. You have to unmute yourself.
So I did not contribute to your list, but I did call, it's called Gateway. And it's in Springfield. It's a hardware store, but they have hockey equipment, sports equipment. So I know these people because I have frequented them when I was younger and then with my daughter. And what happens is, like, Mie changes sizes. So we go in, she trades in her pair of skates. They give us a certain amount of money that goes towards her next pair. So the guy's name is Gino. I'm like, well, what do you do with all those skates? Like, you've got tons of, you know, inventory coming in. He says he throws them away. I'm like,
no way.
Yes. So again, like, I don't know. This is just me thinking in regard to making, maybe, as we're saying, reach out to the school and people that have families and maybe get sizes. But the thing too is, I wear a size 9, but I might wear a different size in a skate. So I don't know how to figure that part out because you're not always true to your size. But I'm like, this is like, we need to take advantage of this.
Yes.
So I said, I will get back to him after we have the meeting. They sharpen skates. I mean, this place has been there for a long time in
Wow.
Springfield.
Wow. I'm not sure. So is he willing to give you the skates that he throws out?
Sorry?
We're losing you, Barbara.
Oh, sorry. Is he willing to give you the skates that he throws out?
Well, I needed to check in with everybody and see what our thoughts were about how do we go about this, you know? Because I think that would be awesome.
Yes.
And again, they're in a consignment section of the store. So you're getting them for a lot less money than a brand new pair of skates, which again, I know with my kid, she only wears them 1 year. The next year, she's got to get another pair.
I'm not, I mean, I throw this out to everybody. I don't feel able to make a decision about this right now because I don't know where those skates would be kept or how we would.
Our lending library.
Yeah. I mean, we could certainly take them and then store them. I have 2 sheds. We could store them there as we figure out how to arrange for lending.
Or
it's Gateway Hockey. I'm seeing it. Wow. Okay. I'm looking
at
as you're
maybe get I don't know. My thoughts are maybe to gather people that need them. Like if there's a need in certain families, maybe, and fit them to make sure that they're getting the right size, you know.
You create an event. Come get free skates.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a great idea.
I think we need to focus a little bit though, because I think we have too many winter sports. Like I think we need to pick one winter activity that we as our little committee of 6 people can do. Like, I feel like, you know, if we just have too many winter things going on. So I just don't see how we, a committee of 6 people, can manage skates, skiing, snowshoeing, you know. I feel like we should pick a winter and a summer activity in this way. I like the whole idea of it, but I just don't think we have enough people, enough, you know, woman power to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Christine, if you would check in with him and see if he really throws those skates out, we could have a day where we all would go down there and pick up a bunch of them from him and just have them available for people. I mean, people can skate out on Lake Wyola.
Exactly.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, that one sounds like easy to do if you're willing, you know, if you follow up on that, and then I would be happy to help you with that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I can call him.
Yeah, and I agree, BZ. We do need to, which is we're not really deciding with these that we're definitely going to do them at this point. We're saying, is there interest in anybody?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So
I just don't want us to get spread so thin, then we don't really do anything very well. We do a lot of things, you know.
Yeah, I'm with you. We're actually about to move out of winter sports into.
I thought you were going to say now you're going to go into the luge or something.
I've been building a track in my backyard.
Yeah, exactly.
The next one is a family track and field day. Using the existing track, we could host a day of races and throwing events and jumping contests.
That's mine. And I would like to really supercharge this and do it probably in the spring, but depending on the pandemic.
Okay.
You know, but I'd like to get the PTO involved and really make it a family fun day.
There's a really good gym teacher at the elementary school that all the kids love.
Oh, really?
And yes, this young man, and he would probably be really into being part of that.
Excellent.
Mr. Para.
There you go.
Mr. Para.
I can call him.
This was your
friend.
That's great.
Do you want me to call him?
Yeah, ask him if he's interested. You can give him my email and we could talk about it.
This was yours, Elaine?
Yes.
I love the idea too about getting people more aware of the track. So even on the day, having just like sign up, does anyone is interested in meeting here every Tuesday at 3 o'clock or Thursday at 5:30? Just I love that idea too of having it maybe start something more regular for people.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And God, there's enough runners in town that will help me out with this.
Mm-hmm. Now there's a whole, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just heard that there were seniors too who have limited mobility, have been using it during the day when the kids are in school.
Oh, that's great.
To walk. So I think it has attracted other people besides runners, but and it's also, you know, it's just a flat surface that's going to be easy to walk on. And
yeah, and I think that if we get more people to know about it, I mean, it's not someplace that like a runner would go and just, you know, be using it much, but you know, you can go and you can do splits on there, and you can, you know, do your speed workouts on it, and people don't realize that it's available and that it's there. And you know, I think that we could actually get some interest from other groups, and maybe, you know, like the garden club would like to come and, you know, do some gardening around there. I know that the Reeds have a bench there dedicated to their son there, and it's really beautiful. And it could be a really nice spot.
Great. Okay. Now I'm going to put a bunch of them together because they're all of the same sort, which is hiring somebody to lead people on a walk. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of different kind of walks. We have mushroom walk, native flower walks, invasive plants, and then an activity to pull them up. I would love to do that. A fern walk, a bird watching. I think those were the ones. And we certainly have the expertise in town.
Yep.
I would be happy to work with somebody in identifying people who could do that. And then I would see that as ongoing, you know, maybe have, you know, some in the fall, some in the spring, one in the summer, but just have these kinds of things kind of spread out, but where we always hire somebody to do it.
You should check with Mary Ann, because she has done all those kinds of walks through the library.
Okay.
And I know she got a little prickly about us, you know, sort of stepping into that arena. That was sort of her, she did not like that we were going to sponsor something that she was already doing. So I would just check with her before you move forward on any of that, because she has had a mushroom walk. She has had bird watching, I think. And I like the invasive plant one though. That I think people would be really into that.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, BZ. I know Marianne did the fern walk because it's my neighbor. She did that a couple years ago. I don't know about the bird watching.
Bird watching is Cliff Reed. Cliff Reed is a expert. And,
and Peg and Mike Ross, who are here on Montague Road, are big bird watchers too.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bird watchers in town, a lot of Hitchcock Center people too.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that we should just be a little careful about making sure we go through Mary Ann.
Okay, super.
Just say we're supportive. We could co-sponsor something.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
But I think she also wants to get the credit that the library is doing the programming to get the interest in the library pumped up. So I think we have to, especially in this year, when trying to be really visible about all the things the library does for people in town. So anyway.
Okay, that sounds great. And that's, you know, certainly easy enough to do, and it's helpful to collaborate with her.
Yeah, because she does all the work and we just say we co-sponsor with her.
Or we show up too, so it's really popular, right?
Yeah.
So the numbers go up.
Okay, so another one, restore field behind the fire department. Used to be a baseball field, a soccer field. Elaine, this was yours.
Yeah, that was mine. And I know BZ knows that when our kids were young, we used to play football back there. There used to be baseball back there. There was
a Sunday soccer game every Sunday with a family soccer game.
Yeah. So,
but that has a history too. You know about that whole history where the riding group, there was a riding rink in the back. and they got into territorial issues with the baseball group or softball group. And I don't know, there was some bad feeling around all that, and it all sort of got, they just was contested space. Like, this is for the writers. No, it's for the baseball. And then I don't know that,
it all just fell apart.
It all fell apart.
And nobody uses it anymore. There are no writers.
I know.
Use it anymore. So this is a big project, but I would like to be part of it, but not this year.
Okay.
I think that I want to do this after the garden.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's a long range.
Okay. So put down FY24.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then also the better development of the town beach, a team effort with other committees.
Town beach is owned by the Conservation Committee, I believe it is, and it is a prickly situation. I think we should take our hands off of that, really.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just cross that one out unless somebody
I
is
think
dying
they're
to do it.
working on it.
They are working on it. They want to make it easier for people to have the boats access building. They're going to widen that or make it easier for people to get their boats in and out there. I think we should stay away from that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree, because I think that it also has something to do with the state. And
Yes, the state, I think, wants to put money into it.
But the state also says that it's getting motorboats in from there is not legal, according to what they have. I don't know. It's something that's gotten prickly. So I think we have enough.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're back to winter sports. And
good.
Yes. And this is to have an intro to cross-country skiing for people new to the sport, and then plan an outing on the trails back behind Anne's house. I can't remember her name now. She's somebody in Tri-Peace who works at
Helen Ann or Colleen?
Yeah, all I know is Colleen, I think, and she has a lot of land, and they put a big oval track in, and she was saying that people could come there. So it would just be a matter of hiring somebody who could give, or finding somebody who can just give some basic lessons, and then go over to some trails. I don't know if there's trails that lead off from.
Can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So then it would be a matter of just finding some trails to have an outing.
Yeah, I would not do the west of Montague Road trails. That's I think those are kind of hairy for a beginner, but where Colleen is talking about is on Wendell Road, where right at the corner where Wendell Road and Locks Pond Road meet, there's the Orchard, Old Orchard Road, and they have a large field out on front on Wendell Road. And they do a track around that field, and it's probably, what would you say, a quarter mile, VZ, that track around there. And so, Cliff Reed and Colleen, they all of them set the trail, and then we would have to ask them because it's their property,
right?
And they also had a badass luge run there too.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
That was terrifying.
Absolutely.
So, anybody interested in organizing that? And if so, BZ and or Elaine, would you be willing to get a hold of Colleen to get permission to have a town event there?
Yeah, we can ask her. I don't know.
I would ask Cliff, yeah, because she isn't part of the ownership.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. It's across the street.
Yeah.
So.
And Michelle Cedar Prati, that group.
Michelle, Paul Lyons.
Yeah.
Did we decide the snowshoes were for this fiscal year? Trying to do the snowshoes for this fiscal year?
This snowshoes, it says ongoing. We don't have any place to store them at this point.
But we can start looking for them. I think.
Gotta start looking into it. So yeah, I mean, if whoever's working on that can find affordable snowshoes, and a place to put them and can work with Mary Ann on that, then that's a go for this year. Why do you ask?
Well, I mean, I was originally interested in this. I didn't put it on this chart for the cross-country skiing workshop. I'm just wondering, you know, about the workshop is tricky, right? Because you need to have snow. So in some ways it needs to be last minute.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there's a way to see if there's a, you know, like if you can get people who are taking out snowshoes and then say, hey, we're thinking of doing this cross-country ski, like trying to see if we can build up interest first. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to be too cautious, but I do think, I think Christine, you pointed out last time too, this one is more expensive because people would need to have skis.
Yeah.
So I have mixed feelings about this one. I'd love to hear what other people think about pursuing it for this fiscal year.
I wouldn't want to
be one of those things that we could be spontaneous and maybe see, you know, if we had, you know, a week of snow that we would say, hey, anybody who needs an intro, come on out. We'll have hot chocolate, you know, we'll ski together as a community. And that would be a little bit lower key.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Skiing is also problematic in that it's the kind of snow that we get too. Like you can get really snow that's hard to ski on, that, you know, it's like makes it really unpleasant.
Yeah, that's why snowshoeing is the
snowshoeing is easier. You don't need good snow. You can snowshoe in any condition. It's not weather dependent.
Yeah.
You do need snow, but you don't need good snow.
Okay, now the next bunch are interrelated, and I have a question about them because it has to do with letting people in the town know about trails. Who is responsible for signage, for map route or trail routes? Is that us? Is that, who is that?
It depends on what land it is. If it's the Conservation Commission, like the area that is south Brook, which is south of Lake Wyola, then that's the Conservation Commission. That's their we hands off. And then shoot, what's the name of the other?
Cole's land is posted and has maps, but we can't, you know,
we can't do that,
sponsor anything there, but they do have maps and are posted. So
and they have waterproof signs.
Yeah.
Now, would we be able to put together just something that says here's all the trails in Shutesbury?
I think it exists already.
Okay.
Well, when I looked at I did some of these, and when I looked at the Recreation Committee website, the trails are listed separately. And when you click on the links, they all go to different kinds of information too. So, I mean, eventually it'd be great to get really fancy and do like QR codes. That would be fun to do for stuff at the gardens. And I mean, but it just seemed like if there was one thing that was standardized where someone could download, like here are all the trails, but maybe it does exist. It's just under another committee's webpage.
Well, we have a little history with this project.
Love this.
Yeah. Well, Christine can, you know, remember how we tried to get this going, and we had quite a bit of interest. We had meetings where a lot of people showed up who were interested in doing this. But I don't know how it sort of all fell apart. What do you guys remember about how, I mean, it just didn't go very far. We went on different walks. We had some activities that we planned as a group, and we went on some walks. We did one around Fisk Pond. I know I went on that one, was really nice. And then the idea was to do what you're just saying, to get some maps made and some trail markers, and I don't know, it sort of fell apart.
We started putting them up on the website and everything. By chance, a guy, I don't know if I ever told you guys the story, a guy came to dinner at my house who I didn't really know. And I said, oh, you know, you look familiar to me. And it turned out he had led one of our walks. And he said, he didn't like realize that I was on the rec committee. He said, oh yeah, I was going to work on that. But then when I realized that they just wanted to use like existing trails and not like create new, it's like, do you realize we are a volunteer committee of 5 people? Like he thought we were going to bulldoze trails through the woods or something, and then dropped out when found out that our aims were too small. But anyway, yeah, there was also a lot of involvement from or a lot of activity from the snow, what do you call it? Snowmobile people?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what are they called? The one that
the Ridge Runners, the Porcupine Ridge Runners, or yeah. And they actually do maintain trails. They're pretty good about keeping the trails open. And then there's also this big mountain biking group.
Yeah.
That apply. Didn't they apply and get money from the CPC the same year that we did?
They applied, but we were giving them a hold while the Conservation Commission was mapping out Southbrook.
Right.
But they want to put trails up. And
we
also,
have had a history of doing this, but it just, it would be great if we could get it, you know, get it going again. It just, I remember what happened was we had a big trail walk by Huckle May. I think he was gonna, do you remember, he was gonna lead us on a walk around Lake Wyola. And then I think we had a snowstorm, or we had a big storm. It was in November. So I think it was, and then that was the last sort of, you know, it fell apart after that. We had like,
yeah, I know.
Well, the Open Space Committee too is working on things like this. So I think we should put a hold on.
Yeah, that's kind of what I put in. Okay, so I think that is it for these ideas. There were also some others that I realized I forgot to put in that are related to the garden, but I don't know that those need discussion right now. I'll just increase this and put in some of those ideas that we had, like sustainable gardening and getting Zoe from down the street involved. Okay, so that's great. I will send this around. I'm going to put additional columns on, and one column is going to be the people who said that they would be willing to do something. And then again, whether it's this fiscal year, next fiscal year, or whether it's going to be something that's ongoing, that will all be in there. And then we can look at it again. And please, you know, think about what activities you might be willing to help out with. So the second agenda item is the open space recreation plan, the activities that they have earmarked for the recreation committee. For the most part, they looked like they're pretty much jiving with what we're doing anyway. The only one that was kind of a biggie is to obtain a grant to purchase playground equipment. And the reason I'd like some discussion around this right now is because I'm going to be going to their meeting on the 16th. And if anybody else who's able to go, I sent that email out with the link to sign up for it. But I don't really think that that's something that is within our wheelhouse.
No, I would stay away from this. This could be a real time sink for us, because it's going to be a lot of energy that don't look now, but most of us do not have kids under 10. And so it's like, I think that should be something that the what is
PTO?
That? Well, not the PTO. What's that group out of Franklin County? That's the preschool kind of.
Oh yeah. Early childhood.
Early childhood. Yeah.
Well, isn't that also something that the capital planning committee would be involved in? If you're gonna, it seems like that would be something like, that's a big ticket item that they could, capital planning could put on there.
Is it are there liability issues too?
Totally.
Or costs? Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So you have to, I mean, I remember when the school was going through trying to purchase new playground equipment. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
a lot of work.
Yeah, okay, we will definitely not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Just to go through them, the next one is to support the growth and development of the garden. We're doing that anyway.
Yep.
Other, which they just talked about, is to develop a formal plan for trail access development and maintenance. And I think this one, it says year 2. I'm not really sure exactly what they mean by that. And it's to be done by the Open Space Committee and the Recreation Committee. And it would be, I don't know if what they mean by trail access is making it accessible for people who have disabilities. Physical disabilities, I don't know, but that we'd find out more about.
I think parking's a big issue. Where can people park for access to the trails?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of great trails, but where do people park their cars?
Yeah.
And that's the access, I think, issue a lot.
Okay.
No.
And also, you know, it's who owns the property.
Right.
Great trails on Cole's property, but what are we going to do? We're not going to do anything with them because it's their property.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Remind me to come back to let you know about what happened with the Kestrel Trust with CPC when we're done with this.
Okay. Let me just see whether or not there's anything else. The other thing is if I could ask people to read through this, if we don't want to if we want to look at the Kestrel now. So for example, obtain funding and create a public trail with access for persons with disability. They'd like us to organize a dedicated group of volunteers to maintain the Southbrook Conservation Area oh no, I'm sorry, that's the Open Space Committee. I take that back. Obtain funds to create a public trail with access in the Southbrook Conservation Area. I'm not familiar with that area. And that would be done in concert with the Open Space Committee and the Select Board.
Wait a minute, which one is that? I didn't.
That one is under Enhanced Recreation Opportunities. See? The other one that they have here, I think does jive with some of the things we were just talking about, which is explore the possibility of improving existing infrastructure for recreational opportunities for teenagers. And I think, you know, that's something we were just talking about with context of those 2 sites. Let's see, and then provide for the implementation. Oh, okay, just this is where plans always fade out, is with mushy implementation. Provide for the implementation of this plan by ensuring that the Open Space Committee and Recreation Committee continue to be populated by members committed to attending meetings and carrying out the committee's responsibilities. I think we do that.
We do that, but how are we going to ensure it?
Nobody may leave the committee, okay? This is a lifetime commitment.
Right.
Just saying.
And the only way out, as Rita showed, the only way out is to be on the select board. Then you can get out of the rec committee.
Nervous laughter all around. Barbara, on that document, is the group that's in bold the primary owner of that item?
Yes.
I believe, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I wonder too if we want to wait to decide what the mission of the Recreation Committee is before committing to these, because if we decide it can go beyond.
And I'm confused how we got put on that document as being, you know, because it's not like we as a committee, you know, this committee, and for your information, had been, it was non-existent for 10 years or 15 years. And this group that you see here, plus Elizabeth Fernandez O'Brien and a couple others, started it a couple of years ago. And I don't ever remember talking about how we were sponsoring things with Open Space Committee. I mean, so I think it naturally fits, but we were never really consulted about whether we wanted to be.
This was a document that Open Space created with the help of the Franklin County Regional Government.
Right. But I mean, they never came to us and said, you know, do you want to, so I think we should look at it with a little bit of a, you know, a whatever, fine tooth, because I don't think we ever really said we were going to be part of some of these things. So.
No, we never did.
That's one of the reasons we need to be present at that meeting.
Yes.
Right.
So they unbold us on some of these things.
Exactly. Like, nah, we're not in. Is there a date for that committee meeting?
December 16th.
16th.
16th?
Do you want me to resend the email with the link?
Yeah.
Okay.
What time? What time?
Let me hold on. Let me look.
7 to 8:30.
Yeah, 7 to 8:30.
Thank you.
What day of the week is that?
It is a Thursday.
I can go to that meeting.
Great.
I plan to go.
Super. Thank you.
I'll be there.
Thank you. Okay. Those were the two big items. Do you want to talk about Kestrel? It's not on the agenda, but we have a few minutes.
Yeah. The two people from the Kestrel Land Trust came to the Community Preservation Committee, and one person talked about they are actually in the process of putting in an offer to buy the land that is for sale off of Pelham Hill Road. It goes from the Pelham town line almost to Baker Road. And it is 275 acres, and it's the head of the watershed for Atkins Reservoir, and they're looking to purchase that, and they want community preservation to fund a certain percentage of it. I think it was like $68,000 they want from community preservation, but they're expecting to do recreational things on it. And so they're looking for, you know, a sponsor for that, but I kept my hand down for that one. The other thing was...
Can I ask you a question about that? Who
Sure.
owns that land now? Who owns it now?
What's her name? Wendy Pearson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it used to be all of hers, along with the house that Jeff Lacey lives in now. Yeah. And the pond. I don't know if the pond is going to be included, or if she's selling the pond separately, or what. She's just, you know, getting out.
I think Jim Aaron owns a big woodlot along there too.
Well, it's possible.
I think he does.
Down there,
but he might be selling it too. I don't know.
Well, he may be. We might expect him to bring that up at our meeting then, when he comes on the 29th.
Jim Aaron?
No, Chris Valenti.
Oh,
from
Chris,
Kestrel.
right.
Yeah, we could ask him about that.
Yeah,
he would
absolutely.
know.
They were just putting in an offer on the property. But then the other thing was with the Janowitz property. First of all, I'm glad we decided not to go, since it is like the second day of hunting season. We probably shouldn't be there. Second of all, they were a bit upset. I don't know if for those of you who have been out there, that the boardwalk has been improvements have been made. Yeah. And it's just local people who have repaired the boardwalks, and they did not like that at all. They thought that, you know, the boardwalk was not, the work was not up to what standard that they would want for it, and it was not doing what they wanted it to do. So their proposal to community preservation is that they want $20,000 to basically expand the parking lot so it's easier to park there, and to create a walkway that will go from the parking lot and will go straight out the field and to at least the edge of the pond, and then have a platform at the edge of the pond, so that if you are handicapped, you could actually access that property to there. And that's the only part that they are asking for money for.
I'm noticing the time, and it's 5 o'clock, which is time to end. And I think we can pick this up at our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
There's nothing I think that we have to decide at this moment. So I'm going to send, just very quickly, I'll send an email out about a suggestion of how we might sponsor walks around the pond, not during hunting season or on Sundays. And is it all right for people to respond just to me or to make plans to walk around the pond with each other?
Yep.
Yeah, and
right.
it might be a snowshoeing
there you go.
event.
There you go.
All
right. So would someone, oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, is the next meeting, you said the 29th. Are you switching to a Wednesday that week?
I'm sorry. No, I'm saying the wrong date. It's, because yeah, as soon as I said it, my mind started thinking, is that really a Tuesday? It's the last Tuesday. So yeah, the 28th. Thank you for catching that.
At 4 o'clock?
At 4 o'clock.
So that's December 28th?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So can someone move to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Yay.
All right.